You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after this question from our characters. So this is just before we've gone into the big cave of the Father, while we're still taking stock of what we're finding. These statues, the jellyfishes with cybernetics, the stone guardians that are blocking the way into the mother-stroke-sister main temple entrance. And Tikus kind of grabs a spare second with the doc and kind of nudges him and goes, "Doc, so upstairs, like on the surface, this is like the father, the son and the daughter. And I know like your whole people are very kind of, you know, like patriarchal because there's so few men among you and like thus it is and so you rule and so on and so forth. But like this whole temple and these statues, they seem to kind of turn that on its head a wee bit. Like, you know, if up there they knew that actually the middle, the father was in fact the mother or the sister or the daughter or whatever, like the lady, you know, how are you feeling about that?
I mean, I don't think of it as a patriarchal as like men are in charge because of some kind of superiority or anything like that. It's purely a matter of numbers of, you know, if we're going to continue, we've got to, you know, focus on a biological imperative here. But the idea that some number of thousands of years ago it was very different is very interesting, and I don't know exactly what it is that causes the difference in, you know, the what would you call it, the selection rate. I don't know what it causes, the ratio, but if it was very different a few thousands of years ago, there's definitely something interesting there.
I mean, it might not even have been different a few thousand years ago in terms of the ratio of you know, cockers to coquettes, as they say. It's just the cultural thing, you know, like the shift in power dynamic. Because there clearly is one. I've seen how you are treated compared to your wives. You know, like the deference that you get as a father compared to the way like your son is looked after compared to all of your daughters. That's a cultural thing, regardless of whether or not it's because of thing there. So like you've been raised in this culture. Like how is this impacting? Like, do you think that maybe you've been raised in a lie, or is it just it is what it is and that's a problem for another day? Or
that's a really, really big question. I mean, you know, like my wives are not like, you know, one of my wives is a senator, one of my wives is a preeminent scientist. I don't think this is a. Are you asking me whether there's a cultural shift of, you know, where we don't treat women in positions of like they can be in positions of authority somewhere, or what's your question?
I don't know, just like the cultural preeminence of the father over the daughter. On the surface, and now we're finding the biggest of the statues is not the father. Like, does he? I mean, it might not shake you. You might be like, meh, doesn't bother me. You know, my wives are treated with respect, and such it is, and so on and so forth. And that's all. It might, you know, if you say, Tikus, it's too big, I can't process it now. We're in a lava cave, miles below the surface, about to die. Like, I dig that as well. You know, yeah. I totally understand that. It's just before I forget to ask you, I wanted to ask you. You're much cleverer at remembering things than me, so...
In that case, I'm very glad that you've noticed as well. It is definitely something that interests me. It's just that most of my studies have been on, you know, like medicine and not historical roles of things. It is something I'm curious about, because obviously we're in, you know, everything is going to be important about this temple. Some historical nugget of, you know, why things happened a couple of thousand years ago might be the key to what's going on with this temple. I don't have all the answers, but all the questions are good. Keep them coming.
Oh, I think I see a way in. This way.
You're listening to Force Majeure. The entire campaign is called The Shadows of the Jedi. My name is Ed Fortune, and I'm here with some lovely friends. And just so you know the sound of our voices, so you can figure out what's going on as you listen to the podcast, I'm going to ask them very nicely to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I play Kay, or Delin Kyrane. He is a human starfighter racer terrorist striker with an emotional strength of compassion and an emotional weakness of hatred.
Hi, I'm Ross. I play Dr. Smex Crown Denalawa, a Syrian consular healer with an emotional strength of compassion and a weakness of obstinacy.
Hi, I'm Mim. I play Roy. Roy is a modified B1 battle droid with a career as a hired gun, specializations as a bodyguard and heavy, and an obligation of 40 to the Bar family.
And I'm Adam. I play Tikus Bar, a basilisk guardian armourer whose emotional strength is his bravery and whose emotional weakness is his recklessness. And just before we go into the story, it is of vital importance that I inform you that Mikey still has a kitten on his shoulder.
It's a very cute kitten.
Yep, she's comfy. She's my little baby.
It's been there for the last 2 weeks.
She's 12 weeks old now. That's how old she is. She's very tiny. She's an adorable ball of fluff. And her name is Alina.
Someone who doesn't have a kitten on their shoulder, however, is Tikus Bar, who right now has seen one of his companions bend over, pick something up from a corpse, and then suddenly a bright light of white light just consume that area surrounding them. It is incredibly bright, and it looks like they aren't there anymore. Tikus, what are you doing?
Suddenly on the comms, Roy, Kay, Doc, Roy, what's going on? Are you still there?
Massive electromagnetic static, it's just noise.
Oh, Criff, oh, Criff, oh, Criff, oh, Criff, oh, Criff. And he looks around kind of anxiously, looks down at the pathway through to where they are, looks kind of at where he's perched, and realises that he can't stay up here. He needs to find out what's going on. So, keeping the belaying ropes in place that he originally set up for everybody else to get back up, he slowly, and with all those limbs, skitters down the side of this rock face like a giant lizard before getting to the ground. And then as carefully as he can while being quick. I mean, he's not doing the gentle tippy toes. He's probably moving faster than he should, given how fragile things are around here. But his concern for his friends, specifically Roy, but also like Kay and the Doc, has overcome his foresight at the moment, and he's going to get to where they are as quickly as he possibly can.
So, athletics check. Difficulty is 2. I'm flipping a dark side point.
Okay. I'm going to counter flip.
Good.
Oh. 2 success, 2 threat, and a triumph.
Hey!
It's a good job that I flipped. Whew.
Okay, please take the threat as strain as you basically bang your knees against rocks, and there's a moment of abject panic when you think that you might have hit a statue, but it's just a rock. And 2 successes as well, yeah?
Yep, and a triumph.
And a triumph. So the successes are enough to get you towards the area, and the triumph I'm going to play out in a moment.
Yep, that's fine.
I'm going to flip back to the party.
Yep.
Roy, you have your sensor goggles up, yeah?
Yep.
They go completely nuts. Take a single point in strain.
Okay.
But in exchange for taking that strain, you're able to essentially read the lines in the matrix, if you see what I mean. Like, all this data that's coming in, you're able to draw the information as to what's going on. And though you don't quite get the same kind of effect, you're essentially pulling this experience from the data. That electromagnetic interference is visual, that's sound, that there is something going on in this white flash of energy that you were able to pull information from.
Okay.
Doc.
Yeah.
Okay. And eventually, Tikus, when you get there, you can decide when. You find yourselves overwhelmed with a vision. And you find yourselves, it's quite clearly you're somewhere else for the moment, but you're still here. You know physically that you're there, but your senses are overwhelmed with something. And it all comes from the flower. And it starts the flowers, the camera pans out, you see this flower being held by the world's most adorable Syrian child. It's the world's most adorable Syrian child holding a flower and pressing it into the hand of the Doc. It's the Doc. It looks like the Doc. It's the Doc, except he's wearing really old-fashioned robes. He's got like a lightsaber. He looks a bit more wise and a bit more monk-like. And also the environment as we pan out is like, you thought that Syria looked old-fashioned, but goodness me, this is proper kind of, it's just wooden structures and farmland, and the whole thing looks very kind of fields full of flowers. It looks gorgeous, and it's just, Father, be safe, Father. Just come back, Father. And then there's another kind of image of this Syrian turning around to something that looks... You see an image of someone who looks a lot like Tikus, but looks a lot more like the other creature that you met in the previous temple back on Syria. It's kind of like this kind of almost like Tikus if he was like taken to almost perfect looking proportions, like an idealized version of what Tikus might grow to become. Also, you see Rur, and they're arguing about something. You get the impression that this is like a last stand. This is like a you will not, you will know. And then you see those two people being pushed away into some sort of distance, into some sort of place. Then it's all very confusing kind of images of running, of arguing. In all of this data and all of this noise, you get a name as well. Karen Kohler? And there's a word. The word is shadow. There's a tight discussion, there's a tight kind of conversation somewhere. And again, we flip back to the image of Father come back. And then we flip back to something, some sacrifice was made here. Some terrible choice had to be made to keep everyone safe. Some terrible deception was made. And then it flashes away and it's all gone. Essentially, you're back in the room. You never left. Tikus, as you get to your friends, you get the same kind of information overload. Clearly, this is whatever was left of this body in the middle.
Just to clarify, so there was, in this vision, there's a father and son serene.
There's a daughter talking to their father.
Sorry.
Asking to come back, Father.
If anybody was wondering about bias earlier in the episode, there it was.
There was a basilisk who reminded you of Tikus, but also reminded you of the basilisk you encountered in
Krell Rur.
And also Rur as well, and some sort of collapse of communication, some sort of impression of sacrifice. Some sort of impression as well that this place is incredibly old.
Right.
And then nothing for a long time.
Did anybody else see that?
I saw something. There were a father and a daughter serene, a basilisk, and is Rur human? Remind me.
Yeah.
Rur, yeah.
Okay.
Has the light faded, Ed?
The light fades as you get there, but you also get the same image.
So you Myuu and Tikus then? Or at least representations of us. It's a coincidence, I suppose.
Possibly. I don't know if we've been casting roles on it. Roy, what did you see?
I sort of saw representations that could be you in the data streams, but I didn't see anything else. I didn't kind of... Did anybody see me there?
No, you weren't there.
Some organic stuff, then.
I just want to point out and reassure you that the time of me picking up random things I shouldn't and terrible things happening has definitely come to a middle.
I'm just glad that you're all right. Like, what was that?
I don't know.
Ed, in the data transfer, did I pick up something that I can identify as it? Was it an electromagnetic shift of anything? Is there anything I can convey to Tikus that it was, or do I just go, something organic and probably magic?
It was a very intense communication burst of an exotic type. Only because Roy is so special, in the sense that you have so much information about encountering these sort of things before, the journey that you've been on, and also you just happen to be wearing the right piece of equipment at the right time. Just by remarkable coincidence, which happens a lot to Roy. There's just this moment of like, it's an exotic communication pulse, is what you would call it.
Cool. I will convey that to Tikus in a load of gibberish technobabble and then a simplified version with a big thumbs up.
I'm going to ask a question, but it's not going to be something that the doc can see. It's going to be something that other people react to before the doc does. When you say exotic, is the doc glowing right now?
When you consider the situation when you glowed, you suddenly realise that your connection to the Force, to what one of your wives describes as that odd symbiote situation that you have, that connection is much stronger here than it ever has been.
Right.
And especially for you, there is a life pulse here that seems to be beyond beyond your ken, essentially. It's beyond your understanding.
Mim especially is waiting for you to answer the question.
I'm waiting for you to say whether or not he's glowing, and if he's glowing with a pulse, I want to ask whether my little squid jellyfish friend is going to pulse back at him in a mimicky kind of way.
He's not glowing in the sense that he's like a cracked glow stick, but he's glowing in the sense that he's full of life, if you see what I mean.
Oh,
So
like a pregnant woman kind of glowing.
he's got like a energetic glow to him, but he's not glowing in the same way. However, your jellyfish friend is going absolutely disco right now. like has gone completely like you realise that it had been pulsing steadily since you came into this room, but now it's like, proper techno right now.
I'm going to ask a wee question before we move further on.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kay, you're the proxy for Rur at the moment, and not just because you're a human, but because also Rur has been riding you like, a blur for a while. Okay, I get that. And I'm the proxy for Krell Rur because, like, we're both basilisks and, the audio aspect to a racist or something like that. I don't know, some predetermination. But the Rur and the Kay are visually distinct, even if metaphorically they're filling the same gap at the moment, okay? And Krell and I are visually, physically distinct, but metaphorically filling the same gap. But that Syrian, Doc, that we saw,
Yeah.
and this Syrian, and Tikus points at the corpse with his lower left hand, are the absolute spit of you. Don't take this the wrong way, Doc, but what do you remember of your parents?
I'm not quite sure where you're at. Well,
what I'm wondering is, are you a clone? Were you grown here by order aspectu from this dead you, and then released to gather the threads of destiny or whatever these loons go for? Or is it just happenstance? Because,
Ooh, that's good.
with Kay and I, and Rur and Krell, we're metaphorical proxies.
Yeah.
We are clearly not those people. We are just filling those people's holes in this repeating whimsy of the Force. But that guy is you.
Yeah. It would explain why a highfalutin doctor was on Kinabel anyway. Because you were better than us.
Gotta say, you've looked better.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you. The doc is it's almost sort of like completely shut down by the questions. That's a very, very big question that I've not really thought. And his rational response at this point is just go to look at TBC and say, because when you clone something, there's a degradation thing that occurs, I think. Can TBC check me now to see whether or not I'm a clone? Or is TBC shut down by the same effect he was shut down in the portal well?
So, two things. One, TBC is on the floor.
Yep.
You can get him back up. And I just want to say the words, roll for an existential crisis.
Oh, there's the title of the episode, really.
Yeah.
Surely you get an automatic despair for that, and then you have to fight against it.
Be discipline, I imagine.
Discipline check. Okay.
That was a joke.
Oh, no.
I think it's cool right now. He is clearly overwhelmed in character. Let's see if he falls apart, because this is what I want to see.
Okay, give me a discipline check, difficulty 2. I'll flip a light side point.
The fact that Roy is staying incredibly calm and supportive could offer a boost, because one thing that never changes is that Roy is like, you could be a clone, but you're still my buddy.
Take a blue.
Oh, see? I'm useful.
I have 4 successes and 1 threat. The threat is... That was weird. Clearly.
The threat comes out as strain. No, you're pretty sure that you're pretty sure you've met your parents?
Well, just because I've met people who claim them. I just I've established the objective as much as I can. But
Yeah, he's met people who say he's his parents.
yes.
It is a wise man who knows his father.
On 4 successes, Syrian family networks are so strong that you can, you can't do it off the top of your head because there's more, you could when you were a child, you then learned medicine, but you can trace your generations back quite a distance just here and now. And if you go home and grab the book, there are touchstones that you have in your home that take you back to your family, going back hundreds of years. And it occurs to you, on 4 successes, that you could go home, get the books out, get the other books out, make a request from the archives, and see how far your line goes. Because it'll go as far as when records began, which was hundreds of years ago, but you're not sure how long ago this was.
I don't know, could I, if it's important to the story, could I flip a point, a light side point, to very, by happenstance, happen to have done a family genealogy report with one of your children, which has got, I don't know, let's say 20 fathers listed, because they would be iconic.
If the rest of the party is happy with that use of the light side point, I'm also happy for you to have had that report with the crayon and the like on you, because it's the sort of thing that you'd carry.
Oh yeah, I love this kind of stuff. I have really loved getting involved with the Cyrillian family and finding out about this weird structure, because it's a fantastic educational thing. So yeah.
Is it a combination of like serious and also macaroni, or?
No, this is all on paper, so 2-dimensional drawings, but there are cut and paste printed out pictures and a couple of drawn pictures for ones that maybe there wasn't a full record or only an artistic representation of that they couldn't get. But yeah, this is a big joint project that we were doing, because there's a big drawn picture of Daddy, which is the Doc.
So one of the things that is interesting is that you realise that the Doc looks a lot like his father and his grandfather. There are other men in the family tree as well, because of the way that the society works, who don't look anything like the Doc. But you can draw a line going back a good few hundred years of these pictures of essentially, the Doc in different period clothing.
I have an idea! And Roy reaches forward, grabs the Doc, and cuts a scar in his cheek.
Existential crisis times 2. Ow!
Let's see whether the scrolls have changed. I don't know whether backwards in time would work like that, but where's the picture of Daddy? Oh wait, you're gonna have to stitch it up so it scars. Make sure it scars. Just open it up a little bit. Just poke it.
Roy, do you think this is me from the future?
Maybe. We'll be trying to work that out.
Just very, very quickly, before you do that, Doc, hand out the way and I slap on a sealant over his environmental suit.
That's a very good point.
Before we get carried away, Roy, here especially, we die down here if these suits get ruptured. So, yeah.
I figured that he couldn't have died if he was old back in the past future.
If he dies, that proves it.
But if this is a clone rather than a time travel version of him, which is what we're currently operating on,
we'll know.
Let's just restrain our exuberance a smidge while we're in the extremely lethal environment. Doc, when we get back on the Grebnax, let's look at that more closely.
Then you can murder him.
No, he wouldn't have died.
He might well have died, and I press 2 buttons and quickly vent the atmosphere in the Doc's faceplate and quickly replace it, cycle some fresh air in, so that any air that did go in there that could potentially poison him has now been shut out.
The toxins are gonna help it scar in a way that we can notice. Now let me look at the pictures.
Okay, alternative title for this episode, Roy meets the grandfather paradox.
I just have this image of this incredibly long, thin probe going straight into straight into the environment suit, and there just being a pause of everyone going, and then Tikus being like, "Here we go, it's a Tuesday."
I see Roy pulling out a broken bottle, just going for the Doc's face. No, that's how we do it at Kina Bale. No,
I need a sample.
But importantly, has anything changed on the picture that the kids drew of their father?
No.
Which probably wouldn't have. Okay, has anything changed on the pictures of any of the grandparents and grandfathers?
No.
Anything changed anywhere?
There might be an extra wound on my character sheet. Ed, should I take a wound on my character sheet?
No, because I'm assuming that without rolling, what's actually happened is Roy attacked you, Tikus fixed it before you took actual environmental damage. because I was going to stop laughing and then say, is anyone doing anything else?
All of this laughter is entirely in character for Kay, by the way. He has lost it.
Well, I don't think you're a time traveler, or time travel doesn't work like I thought. So we've learned something.
No, we thought he might have been a clone. Okay, right. Okay.
Kay said time traveler,
And he points very accusatorily at Kay.
I say a lot of very, very weird Griffin stuff.
Yeah. We just need to, Roy, restrain our enthusiasm very slightly while we're down here, because this isn't like up on the surface. We will die if our suits get opened. Having to be serious very briefly, we will die down here. So let's not try these experiments down here. You know,
You're not letting loose on me when we get back to the surface either.
Up on the surface, that's a you problem. Down here, it's an all of us problem.
Don't take off your helmet. That's not right to do. Don't take off your helmet.
Do we want to take this corpse back to do some kind of studies? We can probably fold him up and put him in the Grebnax, or do we just want to leave him, take a tissue sample with TBC? And also, is what we need in here, or are we getting distracted by shiny things when we've got a goal?
Very, very distracted.
And no one to chivvy on the wonder. We have got weeks down before, the Empire come, but what we don't have is weeks worth of oxygen in our suits.
Nope.
You, Doc, slightly less.
TBC has a sample, has a recording of the corpse, and I would like to leave it as as much as we found it as possible. But TBC is currently on the floor, and I would like to. So I'm going to pick TBC up, and I'll possibly, if need be, hand it to Tikus to go. Can you remember where the on switch is, or something?
Hey, come on, little man. What's going on with you? And I'm going to quickly check TBC's diagnostics and reboot him if I can.
Yep, no roll required. You open the hatch, you take a quick look, you realise that as soon as this exotic energy event happened, it immediately went nope and shut itself off to protect itself. It even inflated its little landing inflation thing to land gently. So it knew what it was doing, but it was nope, and turned itself off. And you give it a bit of a stroke and turn the switch on. Hello, can we not do that again, please?
Can't promise anything.
What?
Other than us, has anything changed? I mean, presumably Kay's still got the flower in his hand.
He's still staring at the flower.
It is a perfectly preserved, crystalline version, fossilized is a better way to describe it, fossilized version of a flower.
So it is a distinct type compared to all the other crystalline flora and fauna here. This is not a mythical representation in Geode. This is an actual flower that has become crystallized through process of time.
This is a fossil.
Cool.
Specifically, this is a fossil. It is
less
not
worried about bringing it out with us. Yeah.
Also, it's too small to be one of the representations of...
Yeah, I just wanted to get that clear in my head. Cool, thank you.
I think touching this made the vision.
Is it some kind of storage?
Well, no, it'll be connected to the point of the emotional impact was when it was handed to this gentleman, points at the mummy, by what seemingly was his daughter. And he's imprinted on this quite heavily. So this is the feelings we had of a betrayal of trust and things like that is the fact that he didn't see her again, I imagine.
Also, whether Rudd turned on him.
Probably would. He's bad
one. Mm-hmm. Which again leads into what we were thinking with the sun statue being some kind of rare defense mechanism in case he came back. If they ended on a bad point.
Yeah.
Hang on, the thing I'm briefly wondering, because we've got a father, son, and daughter. This may be a completely wrong thought here, but if I'm descended from this gentleman from what we can think the patrilineal line.
Yeah.
This is that the daughter in the vision is in a sense a great times X aunt of mine.
Possibly, yes.
But we've got a father with a son and a daughter, and I don't know whether that's got a mapping to the mountains or is it this is a specific father, son, and daughter.
So you think it might be you and your ancestors were the father, son, and daughter of which the mountains were named?
That's my thought at the minute. Is it possible? I don't know if it's.
Make me an education check, please, Doc. A difficulty 1.
Well, I get a cocktail named after me, you get a whole mountain range.
In fairness, more people have tried that cocktail. I've got 2 successes and a triumph.
On a triumph, that would be a hell of a claim to make. which would alter your society if you were able to prove it, but good luck proving it, because the rocks themselves are like formation of the planet level, if you see what I mean. So, like, the rocks themselves existed before the prehistory, before records began. These rocks were here, and these rocks are always regarded as natural formations. Also on a triumph, as you look round, you are struck with the difference between here and Kinabal. And the big difference is that all the crystalline formations here, like, while you're thinking about natural rock formations and natural, like, how this all came from the planet,
Yeah.
you go, well, hang on, these all look like they've just happened. Whereas the ones in Kinabal, you have seen the tool that has been used to carve those. You know, the little lightsaber that Tikus has, the little weird lightsaber that Tikus has, you know how that was made. Whereas these, like, this is more natural in a supernatural sort of way. So you're pretty sure that you are not the ancestor of the entire Syrian line.
I didn't say I was the ancestor of the...
But you could potentially make that claim for great profit of the information that you have here.
Right. Doc, I have in my hands something that one of your direct ancestors held and imprinted in a great deal of emotional strain, talking about the loss in one's family. I think you should take this home with you and put it in your house.
Thank you.
I'm assuming that you have sample tubes and kit here.
I was going to say, I'd like to put it in an appropriate pocket and storage.
Yeah, put in a test tube or something like that, depending on how big it is, or a jar or something to stop it from getting damaged.
Does anything happening when it's in proximity to me as opposed to proximity to Kay?
You're already pretty hopped up on the life force of this planet right now, so it would be hard to tell. You would need to spend some time with it for this effect to happen again.
That sounds something entirely sensible for this campaign.
Right. Let's move on. We've still got something to do.
Right, so nothing else has changed around us then?
These statues here, these are not the statues we're looking for when we're coming to destroy the hut one. No, because look, these are...
No, because there's a Syrian one here. There was a Syrian one back on Kinabel, that's it.
Right.
And look, they're different craftsmanship, aren't they? So just, again, so I'm clear in my brain, the crystal statues we are looking for, which, to Tikus' mind, are the same ones that we found on Kinabel, were explicitly crafted and carved, and were of they were all of the same type of crystal as each other, the ones in Kinabel, right? So my two questions then are, is that the same crystal that is here? And also, with these crystals here, you're saying that they do not have the look of sapient, I don't want to say man-made, because like sapient carving into their shapes, they have just grown into these shapes.
I'm going to ask for specifically a mechanics check from Tikus. Yep. Difficulty is 2. As you sit down and start looking, I'm assuming no one's touching anything, unless you tell me, but this is mechanics because of material science.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say material science check, which is mechanics. Difficulty is 2.
1 success, 1 advantage.
So the short answer is yes. These have been formed through an entirely different process and out of a different material. However, the force-sensitive crystal that you're familiar with has to be abundant here in impossible amounts for that to occur.
Okay.
Whereas it was being shipped in, because you know it was shipped in to Kinabal, because you know that there's entire bits of Kinabal that are irradiated with it.
Yes.
So an environmental disaster occurred when they tried to do it on Kinabal, whereas this planet does this naturally.
Yeah.
However, that's not enough successes to know the differences in material or the qualities. That's just the broad overview.
Yeah, I don't have a lab or anything. I suppose what I'm quickly doing is do they have the same... Because I've got an optical suite, an enhanced optical suite, which lets me see in various wavelengths of light, lets me do thermal vision, that sort of stuff. So what I'm mostly doing is holding it up to the light and going, does this reflect the same as... I suppose not holding it, not touching them, but does this reflect the light in the same way? No, it doesn't. Is it the same kind of type of transparent crystal? Kind of, but...
If it helps, what you will be looking for are the structure of the crystals, whether it's growing in the same structure and cell shape, And to look at whether it's grown that way or been carved that way, you'll be looking for abrasions and micro abrasions on any of the edges.
Yeah.
And if there are none, then this would suggest, and if these are fluidly made creatures, you'd probably be looking at a remarkably unique cell structure for a crystal to be able to allow this.
Yeah.
So it would probably stand out as being quite unique.
Yes.
Just because I'm spitballing on this, so because there was a Saurian statue that had been shipped to Kinabale, would we have thought it was a copy of the one here? Like if there was a temple like this on, I don't know the name of the homeworld, but the Basilisk homeworld, and there was an equivalent statue, and that somehow had a natural formation which had the same age of the planet, with copies of all of the species that you find on the Basilisk homeworld in the same way. Would the Basilisk statue that we found on Kinabale, would that be a copy of the one there in the same way?
Firstly, I don't think any other homeworld has this, because we've only found this through like a lot of preparation to get here. We can't have been the first people here, and it's so big. If every world had this, someone would have said something about it on the Holonet. Like, you can't keep with every world, every home world, like it's too big a secret. So I don't think that. Also, the image I'm getting is, or like my current working theory is, these crystals here, down here, are a totem of your world. I don't think what the Ordo Aspectu were doing, or rather, I think the Ordo Aspectu were mimicking, but I don't think it was a direct one-for-one kind of thing. I don't think that they saw the Saurian statue and copied it so much. They might have been inspired by, hey, look, there are crystals growing here in this hugely force-sensitive, thin, veiled part of Syria that mean they grow to reflect the life of Syria. I wonder if we can do something similar with these other crystals. I think maybe it was imitation rather than a direct copy. Yeah. And I don't think like they've gone, oh, and we've taken the Syrian statue from Syria and the Besla statue from Bessalia or wherever the heck my people originally come from. You know, Mum and Dad don't talk about it. And like humans from Humania, and
I just don't know what the connection is. I'm still trying to. There's a lot of information. There's not a lot of answers.
I have a theory that maybe if this place is really ancient and this is really special, maybe there are other places like this, or maybe original art forms have transcended time and culture, and, you know, plus they can't be exact replicas. These ones move.
Aye, there is. I think what the Aspectu are using are totems. May be inspired by these, but I don't think it's a direct copy of. I think what we saw in Kinabale, for example, there were ones there for species that have never been to Kinabale. Or as far as, you know, like there's some really weird species that I've never even seen before, apart from, you know, oh, look, that's a vaguely humanoid thingamabob, but it's got 96 tentacles instead of a hair, or, you know, huge eyes, or look, you know, this one's got a weird Y-shaped head. I don't know what the heck that is.
Hey, Doc, do you have... I mean, obviously you've got your museums and your histories, but who are the holders of the oldest knowledge, or holders of knowledge that maybe they don't release to the public, really ancient knowledge? Because they would probably be the only people to have ever heard of something like this, if no one's been here for a really long time. But maybe there's a hint of something in a really old history, and if you've got information that nobody knows, there'll be maybe somebody who knows there's information that nobody knows, and they'd want to kind of know how you knew it, or they know it when you mentioned knowing it, and maybe there's stuff to find out.
I mean, if someone who knows information that I don't know, then I don't know that they know that.
That's an unknown.
You know what I mean? Every shady government has information that they don't let people know that they know, but people kind of know that they probably know it, but it's all just, oh, we can't say we know it, so everyone's just like, yeah, but we know you know it.
And this goes on for a few more minutes. But you get the impression that he is basically trying to suggest that if we can't find any more information here, and you mentioned that this place kind of felt like there were, or one of you had experienced stuff that felt like there were secrets and dark secrets, and this was really old, then maybe there are secrets and dark secrets that you guys as a culture have that you could go and find out about. Like maybe there's your most famous female leader. It turns out that all the guys have been sterilized so that there aren't too many of them. We done it on purpose. Mwahaha. that kind of thing.
I mean, it could be that if we did have such a thing like that, it would be one of those things that we didn't let the Empire know about, so we probably do have some kind of archive that only we know about.
And this place seems really, really special. So maybe what we need to do is take what we've got here in the fossil and go back to somewhere where we've got other information. Start with the libraries and then try and find the people who have access to the hidden libraries within those libraries, like the Pope. Let's go look for your Pope.
I'm going to be a real party pooper here, Roy, because I think it is a very interesting thing that we're finding here and could indeed shake the whole of Saurian culture on its head. And I think that is an excellent project for us to come back to once we've stopped Braca becoming immortal by destroying the Hut statues in this and the other remaining temples.
But didn't you say that you thought that might create mass genocide? And those are different.
Yeah, that's why we're not looking for here. We're looking for, another... this is not the room we're looking for. And also, if it's the huts... anyway, I'm not going to follow that thought on, actually. That takes me down a dark road I don't really want to go to. But this is not the room that we're looking for. This is an interesting room. I almost think it's deliberately such an interesting room to do what it's doing to us, to get us following down this rabbit hole and distract us from what it is that we actually need to do here. We can come back and do all this research down the line. I'd love to. I think it'd be great. I love Saria. There's so much water here. I'd definitely come back here.
So right now, our ignorance is important because our ignorance means we go on to find the more important knowings, and so we know we don't know something, but we can come back and know it.
Exactly. What this is doing, this is a scholarly trap from a scholarly people. They're going, here's a great big mystery. Forget everything you're actually here to do. Focus on this mystery. But as my oxygen tanks are telling me, we're going to need to get hustle on, and what we need to do is find the Hut statue that is here, and or the Resurrection Immortality Bendification Room, frag that, and then get out of here. And then we can worry about all of this great mystery another time. We can always come back here. We have the Grebnaks, but right now, we've got to get a wiggle on and find the Bendification Room.
Are you having this conversation as you're belaying up and out of the room?
I think I'm trying to, as Tikus is kind of dragging them towards
I mean, I suspect at this point, if that was the case, Kay has already started climbing the rope.
Yeah.
If not to the wall.
No, I'm just going to force leap straight up.
Okay. But yeah, yep. So on the theory that door number 1 was the mother, the cave, which we couldn't get into because something I don't remember. Door number 2 was with what got us in here and distracted for a while. Door number 3 was the one where Ro's essence was pulled into.
We're in door number 1, which is on the far left side. Then we have door number 2, Mother's right hand. Door number 3, Mother's mouth surrounded by the Doom Sphinxes. Door number 4, Mother's other hand. Door number 5, the sun, is how I'm kind of picturing it, because there was 5 doors and that's roughly how it was arrayed. And we can't get to door number 3, the Mother's mouth door, because that's where the Sphinxes are. But we might be able to now move from here to door number 2, Hand of Mother, to go in and see if we can find a way to turn the Sphinxes off.
So, as you get out of that chamber and move across, can I please have vigilance checks from everyone?
1 success from me, Ed.
Yeah.
1 success, 1 advantage from me.
1 success from me.
And 2 successes, 1 strain for me. Or 1 disadvantage, sorry.
Kay notices this first. They are 4 cybernetic jellyfish moving towards where you are, and then suddenly they are free as one of them goes past a point and bips down onto the ground, and you see a point of light go to the cave, and as 3 of them head, all move as one towards where you're standing. We're going to leave the session there as the party come face to face with these weird cyborg monsters that don't really fit in the sort of place that you're in. Thanks for listening.
But wait, before we leave you, this episode's patron is Tom. Tom, as well as being a thoroughly lovely chap, is also the DM and editor of the phenomenally good Dice Company podcast, a D&D podcast that is full of high adventure, great characters, epic states, and a lot more swearing than us. Just FYI, it is cracking. It's one of my my current favourites at the moment, and I'm working my way through their back catalogue, catching up quickly. It's a hell of a show. I really recommend it. Well worth a try if you fancy some more fantasy in your life. Thank you very much, Tom. We really appreciate it, and thank you very much for the stories you're telling over on that show. Yeah, Really enjoying Dice Company, it's good fun. And of course, thank you, our listeners, as always. You are what makes this all worthwhile. Look after yourselves, my lovelies. Remain delightful, and we will see you all next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.can. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.